Are you worried about today's dire financial situation?
Put simply, I would argue the Biden economic plan is working.
The storms on Wall Street continue today after regulators seized the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, marking the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis.
Do you worry you'll have enough to pay your mortgage, pay your children's college tuition, enough to retire?
I believe our banking system remains strong.
Regional banks in focus once again today as the market digests the fallout of the First Republic failure.
You have questions, we have answers. It's the Gold Standard with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Thanks for joining us on the Gold Standard Radio Show. Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn back together again. And Ken, it was last weekend we were actually together at the Unite IE Conservative Summit meeting 800 patriots. Pretty incredible day.
It was good. And for the folks that are listening and, outside of this local area, like
missed it.
Phoenix or whatever, Inland Empire.
That's right. That's
which is Riverside County, right?
Riverside,
California.
San Bernardino County. That's
okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people. We had a great time. Charlie Kirk and Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Officer Brandon Tatum. It was fun. And it was great to see you. Yeah.
A lot of good people. A lot of people really concerned, Jen, about what's going on with their money. Be. A little bit too much attention to the price of gold. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. What are the benefits of, we're going to talk about why are gold and silver going up in price.
And I have a special surprise for you today, dealing with our topic today, why gold and silver are going up and why that shouldn't surprise you. And it's actually really connected to something important.
Lay it on me.
Well, I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
We're gonna. First we have to set the stage. We have to ease into the hot tub or ease into the swimming pool.
They already know. Okay, well, go ahead.
Set the stage for us because we're in this situation right now because our dollar is no longer backed by gold.
No.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
I know. Imagine that.
When did that happen? 1971, right?
That's right.
Richard Nixon came on and he gave a little bit of a talk on let's take the dollar off the gold standard. No longer are we going to allow the conversions of dollars into gold. I think we actually, producer Mike has a clip of that speech back then. We could play a little clip of that. Gold, real money, fake, bullet in the head.
Done. Okay. He sounds a lot like Mitch McConnell and Kamala Harris.
They all sound alike.
Don't they?
They do.
Wah, 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 wah.
But that's exactly the reason why we're having these discussions today, because it's kind of been like a slow process, Jen, where our money, our paper money, it's just being printed into oblivion.
Yeah.
And it's been going on for over 50 years. Mm-hmm. And now it's getting out of control. Mm-hmm. And the debt situation is getting out of control. And that dollar, all the way back from 1971, is now worth about 15 cents in buying power. So, is it any reason that all these good, hardworking, middle-class people from Fontana, Ontario, Apple Valley, Temecula, Corona, Riverside, they're all coming up to you and they're saying, well, what's happening?
Right.
And we're not even talking about privacy of our money, safety of our money, control of our money.
It's about really preserving your wealth because you feel that inflation is so high, right?
Well, it is. And that's one of the reasons why gold is going up. Why don't we talk a little bit about why the prices of gold is going up, actually, and then maybe the second half of the show, we can talk about maybe why silver is going up.
I love this. So we'll start with gold.
Okay.
And then I'll give you a little surprise, all right? So let's start with gold.
I could use a surprise.
I know. So the price of gold, people say, why is it so expensive? So today, gold is, what, about $2,200?
I would say it's about $2,350 the day of taping, okay? Mm-hmm. And I was actually telling Mike, I was speaking to a client today, and we were looking at her last gold purchase, which was in June of 2019. And gold was at $1,350.
That's an incredible jump.
Less than 5 years ago. So, if we do approximate math, that's about at least a 60%, 70% difference in price. If you compare that to what the purchasing power of our dollar has lost, even since 2019, is it any wonder that people are starting to realize and say to themselves,
what's going on?
Maybe I should take some of this relic, like gold, and maybe I should get some of that instead of having all of these dollars and really don't know what they are, but I know that they're losing a lot of value. And the bank says I have a certain amount of them in my account, but I'm not really sure because I can't control it and I can't hold it. So maybe I should look into this gold thing. And what's happening is that causing a lot of people, Jen, to want to own gold. There's only so much to go around.
Right. Tangible, you hold on to it. There's a limited supply. This is why the price goes up. And if you're interested, by the way, in talking to Midas, 855-322-4653, I do want to give you my surprise right now because it fits in just way too
Lay it on me.
perfectly.
I'm ready.
Do you mind?
No.
All right. So I love Stephen Moore. He is a MAGA patriot who is an advisor to President Trump, both in the White House and now as a candidate. And he's got a newsletter, the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. And in it today, in the call as we record today, it says, everyone knows that gold is the ultimate hedge against inflation. In the 1970s, as inflation surged, gold was about the highest performing asset, rising from $30 to $300 an ounce while the stock market crashed. Now, it goes on to say, I'm just skipping around here. Gold is rising in the last 6 months. He said, fast forward now to the last 6 months, gold is rising again. It's up 16%. Maybe this is just a blip. Or maybe it's a sign that inflation is back, on the rise, and that the fundamentals of the economy are a lot weaker than Washington is pretending them to be. Either way, a rising gold price is a bad sign for your dollar. How about
there
that?
you go. In a nutshell, he owes us some money because we gave him some free advertisement on the Gold Standard radio show.
But I had to tell you that. I picked it out of the newsletter today. It's exactly what we're talking about.
Let's pick apart a couple of things in that statement, which is true. Mm-hmm. First of all, the dollar is losing a lot of value.
Yes, it is.
And that's starting to be noticed by everyday people. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's been happening for a long time. The only difference is we used to be able to export a lot of our dollars to other countries, export a lot of our inflation, and then those countries would send us back refrigerators and cell phones and different sorts of things. But that has started to change because a lot of these other countries are buying gold and they're selling our U.S. treasuries.
Right.
I would also say that he's definitely correct saying that the United States leaders, medical, patients, mental patients that are leading our country are definitely lying about the strength of the economy.
Yeah, they
without
tell us
a
it's
doubt.
fine, right?
And definitely lying about what a wonderful job they've done with inflation and how it's come down. We played a clip just a couple of weeks ago on how much Kamala Harris has done to save us on our utility bills.
Right.
It's all hogwash. Mm-hmm. We could use other words, but it's all hogwash. So in that essence, it's definitely correct. Not to mention that the government is taking debt out at an exponential level that's never been seen before. We're taking out $1 trillion of new debt every 100 days.
It's insane.
So you're talking about a debt crisis, which is on the way. You're talking about a gold price, which is moving up. But what it's doing is it's signaling a potential inevitable currency crisis. The price of gold going up is signaling a currency crisis that's on the way. Now, that's either going to be hyperinflation or it's going to be just a crash in our paper currencies, which is basically one and the same because inflation is the devaluation of our currency. Mm-hmm. And as the government continues to just print unlimited dollars, and I've told you many times, Jen, the problem is there's too much debt and there's too many dollars. And in the future, my question to you is, are there going to be more? Is there going to be more debt? And is there going to be more dollars?
Sure.
So that means that the value of that dollar is going to fall.
Less and less.
And it means that tangible assets like gold and silver, which are very easy to, accumulate, very easy to liquidate, very easy to control yourself and hold on to privately, the prices of those are going to inflate because as the dollar loses value, it's reflected in a higher gold and a higher silver price. I think silver probably in 2019 was around $17 or $18 per ounce.
Wow.
And now it's $28.
So you see that. I mean, as the gold and silver goes up, you're seeing the dollar go down. And this is why you say that gold is really like an insurance policy.
That's exactly what it is. And as you can see, it's holding your purchasing power. Mm-hmm. So if the everyday items that the folks in the IE are purchasing since 2019 have gone up 40, 50%. We all know it's true. If our utility bills and all of our other bills and expenses have gone up 40, 50%, 30%, what makes up for that? Well, you and I just went over that the price of gold and the price of silver, even since 2019, are up more than 50%. There's proof right there that even 1,000 years ago, when gold was a store of value, even today, it still holds your purchasing power. And even in this instance, it's gaining purchasing power. And I would tell you, Jen, that this is just starting. Gold has been suppressed under $2,000 for a few years now. It's headed much, much higher. We've just started the breakout. Of course, it's not going to be in a straight line, but I would anticipate gold to be $10,000, $20,000 per ounce over the next 10 or 20 years. And I would expect silver to be at least triple digits at a minimum over the next few years.
Now, when you say gold is safer in the banks, what do you mean by that? I've heard you say that before.
Well, I feel more comfortable. I mean, recently my personal bank accounts were closed.
Ridiculous.
I got a letter in the mail and it just said, "You've exceeded our risk tolerance. We're closing your account in 21 days.
And they don't even know you.
What? So I called them up and I says, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
"Well, we can't tell you why. That's just a decision we've made." I know what it is. If you deal a little bit in a cash business, or if you are active, you're making many withdrawals or many deposits, you get flagged. So does that mean that somebody who has a cash business, that you have rental real estate? What if you have apartment buildings or something and a lot of your clients are paying you in cash? What if you have a fast food restaurant and a lot of your business in cash? Does this mean that you're a flagged person?
Shouldn't be.
What if you vote for a particular political party? What if you have a certain religious affiliation? Does this mean that we're going to be, ostracized from doing business with the big banks? And this is one of the big banks, so, that's fine. I'll do business with most of the local credit unions. That's fine. But this could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
And I would say to you that owning gold in my possession and owning gold, silver in my possession for money that's just going to sit at the bank and do nothing anyway except lose value. I'm not going to get that much interest on it. And I could be, have no access to it when I need to, like this particular situation now. Yes, gold in my possession and silver in my possession is safer than my money being
in a bank that's going to close you down. 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-4653 from Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com. Veteran-owned, America First Patriots, MidasGoldGroup.com, 855-322-4653. More up ahead. It's the Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Dr. Gorka here. You're listening to The Gold Standard with your hosts, Ken Russo from veteran-owned Midas Gold Group and Jennifer Horn. Owning private money in the form of physical gold and silver is perhaps more important than ever to your long-term financial security. As U.S. banks fail, the Biden administration sends hundreds of billions abroad while depleting our strategic oil reserves. However, the biggest financial threat may be coming from within: central bank digital currency. The patents have been filed and the big banks have released plans for implementation. Midas Gold Group sees tyrannical implications, the end of cash, the end of financial privacy, big government able to see your every purchase. Could there be ties to social credit? Hear more commentary on the political and economic issues that affect your financial security right here on the Gold Standard. You can create your own Gold Standard with a call to Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653, MidasGoldGroup.com.
Welcome back. It's the Gold Standard Radio Show. Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn back together again, talking about gold and silver really being an insurance policy of sorts. When you see all the craziness, all the chaos, all the inflation, just truly all you have to do. I mean, Ken, we talked this week about the fast food industry in California. Now, they've got not just inflation to deal with, but the minimum wage has gone up and these businesses are suffering. They're letting people go. The cost of food is going up. Again, people are feeling this from the grocery store to their favorite restaurant to the gas tank.
Yeah, and it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, in certain places, things are more expensive than others. But I mean, I used to stay at a hotel in Phoenix, 5 years ago, and that price has gone up dramatically.
That was where Tom Bodette left the light on for you, right?
He did. Yes, correct.
It's now Motel 9, I believe.
That's right. But I mean, those prices are up at least 50%.
Yeah, the 99-cent store, no longer in business. They had to close.
You can't
in
sell
Arizona
anything for
and Texas.
99 cents anymore.
No, if I were them, though, and this is just my own little, love to stick it to them, I'd love someone to come in there and save the 99-cent store's business, but change it to Joe Biden's $5.99 cent only store and up or something like that. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, brand it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just Biden, but you've got all these terrible politicians making terrible decisions that aren't fiscally responsible.
Well, that's what it is, too. And actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, even when I was on the radio the other day with you.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve Bank is not supposed to be in charge of creating and printing money. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be done by Congress.
No one knows that, by the way.
Well, it's supposed to be done that way.
Yeah.
And I'm a little concerned that even the people that work in Congress don't even realize that.
That's probably true.
Well, but that's the problem with everything that's going on. And you also mentioned during the interview about Biden forgiving student debt.
Mm-hmm. Big story this week.
He's not supposed to do that either.
No, that's the power of Congress.
That's right.
He's giving these relief, but really kind of, it's just a debt relief program for students. It's not being fair to people who paid off their loans. And Ken, it's also not legal for him to do that. This is going to be challenged in the courts. And it's very fair to say that people who think their student loan debt is gone may get it right back again.
So we have fake government.
Yeah.
Fake laws. Mm-hmm. And you have fake process of our leader just doing what they want to.
Yeah.
So what's real?
Gold, silver.
Well, there you go. Well, that's
you can hold it.
And land,
Land
I mean,
is
but
real.
that's kind of a little bit hard to sell sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're seeing, Jen. And even a lot of the people that we were speaking to over the weekend, they understand. They're starting to understand that our fiat money, paper money, is dying.
Yeah.
And that's a slow process, but they can see it now, and it will accelerate. And they're starting to see how their money, when it's not in their possession, that could just disappear. Well, that's not really that safe either. I mean, I hope that our financial system is intact tomorrow, but I'll be honest with you, there's so much out there that we don't understand, and there's been so much abuse from the financial system and from Wall Street that it's created this big cloud and this big bubble. And the question is what could you kind of rely on so that you don't have to comply and rely on that system being there for when I need it, my money being there when I need it? Could I assume that my investments over the next 10 years in the stock market are going to do fantastic after we've gone through such a fake period the last, decade after the great financial crisis of 2008 and then the flu epidemic in 2020 was just another convenient excuse to print tens of trillions of dollars more.
It can happen again.
Well, it's almost to me as if the financial system and our money is on its last leg, and it's kind of like on fumes. And like I was expressing my opinion to a lot of people, we are going to come out of this one day better. We are going to have a great awakening. But in that process, how are you going to financially survive and keep your status, keep your wealth, your nest egg intact?
Right.
And that's where the gold and the silver comes into play. So it's imperative that people take a little bit of their savings, some of their IRA, some of an old 401k, convert it to something that they know will always have value, and it'll be there when they need it. Now, the story with silver is a little bit different, Jen, than the story with gold.
Yeah, tell me about that, because we don't spend as much time on silver typically.
Silver's more of an industrial precious metal.
Right.
So a lot of the silver that's used is used up, and then it's gone. Gold's a little different. It goes from investor, bank to bank. There's not that many industrial applications for gold, but silver's different. So if you have silver even at $28, and silver's high is 50 in 2011 and 1980. How could silver be half of the price that it was at its two high points over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's more industrial applications like solar panels, cell phones, electric cars, all this stuff, flat screen TVs, using up all this silver. The supply of silver is pretty much flat over the last 20 years. There's no real big increase in the production of silver. So how could the price be pretty much stuck? Well, that's because the banking system rigs, manipulates, suppresses the price of gold and silver through derivatives. So you have these banks that trade all these derivatives. These are the same banks that are supposed to be keeping our money safe, but in essence, they're doing the most risky things out there is they're gambling with these markets in an attempt to, have their investments go a certain way. And in my opinion, that's going to blow up someday, and they're not going to hold the price of silver down like they've been able to.
And you think it could explode then at that
point? I do. I think
Yeah.
it'll be much, much higher. I think the price of silver will be easily over triple digits in the next few years. And if it's ever allowed to trade on its own, it may be a lot more than that. But what I wanted to mention to you, there's just too much talk about the price of gold, and there's too much talk about the price of silver. I want people to understand the reason why you own these are to separate yourself from having all paper assets. You own gold and you own silver for privacy. You own it for the value, a store of value, because you know it's always going to be worth something. You own it because you could hold it yourself in your own possession.
It distances you.
Right. You know, that means that you have access to some of your money no matter what. So for those reasons, that has nothing to do with price. Not to mention the price that people see every day of gold and silver is pretty much the paper price of gold and silver. And according to our conversations and according to the bank derivatives and according to the rigging, it's fake. It's fake like everything else. So the ultimate price of gold and silver is going to be judged on availability, and it's going to be judged on the demand and the supply. And I'll tell you what, you just can't print unlimited gold and unlimited silver out of thin air. And as
I'd
more
love to
people,
figure out how.
and as more people realize that they need this to protect their money, they need this to protect their nest egg, they need this for all of these important reasons that you and I have talked about, the price is going to go up dramatically, or someday it's just going to be not available.
Right.
So either way, you got to try and make these
limited amount,
moves.
right? It's just a small amount on the planet, and there's something to the fact that you have it. It retains its value. It has historically. It separates you from the system. It gives you privacy. It is the insurance policy we've been
Versus
talking about.
unlimited paper debt and unlimited paper dollars. And you and I just talked about is how do we protect ourselves from having too many dollars?
Right.
And this is one way, one serious way, Jen, that people should be doing that.
Absolutely. And here's the number, because Midas Gold Group, I talk about them because they are different than other gold and silver buyers and sellers. They are the real deal. America First Patriots. They are veteran owned, but my favorite part is that you can actually go and see them, and you can go see them in person. So if you want to actually get your options outlined in front of you, you're not calling a call center. You're going to get the best attention and the best attention to detail. This is your money we're talking about. 855-322-4653. 855-322-GOLD is the number to call. 855-322-4653. You can go online, check out the resources, product catalogs at MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And you can always text the word gold to 232425. And I think you're right. Don't sleep. We don't make predictions here.
Right.
But you can't sleep on silver when you think about, Ken, I mean, this has puzzled me forever. The amount of silver they use in all these products, it is insane that it is still so inexpensive.
So if there's so much demand and the supply, I mean, that's just basic economics. But that's okay. That's where the opportunity comes from.
That's right.
Because if it was at $500 an ounce, we wouldn't be talking about it today. Maybe that would be too expensive. So now's the opportunity for people to make some moves. And then we'll sit back and enjoy the show, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Make sure you're protected, because there
popcorn
is a show ahead, that's for sure. Protect yourself with Midas Gold Group. Midas Gold Group for all of your precious metal needs. 855-322-4653. 855-322-GOLD. Again, you can text the word gold to 232425. Midas gets right back to you, and blogs, resources, always available at MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And I love to pop in and say hello. Thousand Oaks, California, if you are in Southern California, or if you're in the state of Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and go say
right
hello.
Across the street from the Deer Valley Airport.
Gotta love that.
But don't let that prohibit you from, if you can't make it in, give us a call. We'll walk you through it. There's nothing to be afraid of, and we'll make it a real easy process. Hold your hand the whole way.
Absolutely. 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-4653, or MidasGoldGroup.com. Ken Russo, thanks so much. It's a Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.